Sugar, that sweet temptation, it's everywhere from the candies we loved as kids to the desserts we crave as adults. But have you ever wondered what happens inside your brain when you take that first bite of your favorite gulab jamun? It's more than just a taste, it's an experience. It's a fascinating journey. It all starts on your tongue where the magic begins. Tiny taste receptors detect the sugar molecules. These receptors are like little detectives, always on the lookout for sweetness. They send a signal, a message, shooting up to your brain. This signal travels through a network of nerves, like a high-speed train. The message goes to the cerebral cortex, the part of the brain that tells you, hey, this is sweet. It's like a switch that flips on, making you aware of the sweetness. This process is lightning fast. In mere milliseconds, your brain knows exactly what you're tasting. You taste, your brain knows, and you're already reaching for another bite. It's almost automatic, driven by the pleasure you feel. But this is just the beginning of sugar's influence on your brain. There's a deeper story unfolding. The real story unfolds in the brain's reward system. This is where the true power of sugar lies, influencing your cravings and desires. The reward system is like the brain's pleasure center. It's a complex network of neurons and pathways that light up when we experience something pleasurable. When you experience something enjoyable, like eating delicious food, the reward system is activated. This system is designed to reinforce behaviors that are essential for survival, such as eating and socializing. It releases dopamine, a feel-good chemical. Dopamine acts as a neurotransmitter, sending signals between nerve cells in the brain. Dopamine is like a messenger, telling your brain, that felt good, let's do it again. This encourages us to repeat the actions that cause the release of dopamine. This is why we crave sugary treats. These foods are high in sugar, which can trigger a strong response in the reward system. They trigger a surge of dopamine, making us feel happy and satisfied. This immediate reward can be very powerful, often leading us to seek out these treats repeatedly. The more sugar we consume, the more our brain gets used to this dopamine rush. Over time, we may need to consume even more sugar to achieve the same level of satisfaction. And so, the cycle of craving and reward begins. This cycle can be difficult to break as our brain constantly seeks out the pleasure that comes from the dopamine release. Now here's the catch. When we talk about the effects of sugar, healthy foods, and drugs on our brain, it's important to understand the differences in how they impact us. While healthy foods also trigger dopamine release, they do so in a much more balanced and moderate way. This means that the pleasure we get from eating healthy foods is more sustainable and doesn't lead to the same kind of highs and lows. On the other hand, sugary foods create a quick and intense rush of pleasure. This sugar rush is short-lived and often followed by a crash, leaving us wanting more. Think about eating a plate of dal and rice. It's a wholesome meal that provides steady energy and satisfaction. It's satisfying, but it doesn't give you the same intense pleasure as, say, a big piece of cake. The cake, loaded with sugar, gives a quick dopamine spike. This is because sugary foods flood the brain with dopamine, much like addictive drugs. The brain's reward system gets hijacked, making us crave more sugar. This constant overstimulation can lead to changes in the brain, altering its structure and function over time, making it crave more and more sugar to achieve the same level of reward. This cycle of craving and consumption can be hard to break, much like addiction to drugs. So, what's the solution? The key takeaway is moderation. Enjoying a sweet treat occasionally is perfectly fine, but when sugar becomes a regular fixture in our diet, it can hijack our brain's reward system, leading to unhealthy cravings and overconsumption. By making conscious choices about our sugar intake, we can enjoy the sweet things in life without letting them control our brain and our health. Remember, a little bit of sweetness goes a long way.